You know what doesn't get old? Being called a badass. Fear is the number one obstacle to success. Let's flip the format on your fear. Badass Attitudes, licensed here, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
That's right. It is Mustang Monday, Badass Tips from the Streets. And before I introduce you to two of my friends that have hopped in the seat of the Mustang, I wanted to share a little bit about, the badass or the Mustang story origin. It's like you've got to get behind the wheel of your own life. I don't care how the Mustang works. I don't have any interest in pulling apart the engine to see how it functions. I don't need to know how to change the oil. Heck, I don't even care how to change a tire. I just want to experience the power of the car. I know I love the sound of the engine and the rumble it makes when it idles. And my Mustang takes off like a rocket. I have the confidence to know that I can fly by anyone, even going uphill. My other car, no way. I love the power when I drive it, and I know that the driving experience makes me feel badass. You've got to take control of your thoughts. Your brain is the vehicle, but your mind is the driver. So when you put the right oil and fuel in my Mustang, it runs like a champ and I know I'm keeping her healthy. Same with my brain. I feed it healthy and positive thoughts and perpetually seek insight and understanding, practice wisdom, and I'm enjoying the ride so much more. If you don't properly maintain your vehicle, what happens? First, you have to fix the problem, and that takes time and investment. Then, so it won't break down again, you have to develop the habit to keep it running healthy, and that means preventative maintenance. Same with your mental health. Fix what's broken, and it'll take time and effort and openness, and then constant, perpetual, preventative maintenance. Sure, challenges, detours, and failed attempts, we're still going to come up on the journey. But mindset helps navigate them and come up with better solutions, so the problems don't grow out of control. Once I got my car running on a habit once a week, like Mustang Monday, I started using the car for an actual purpose. Something started to happen. The lining of the driver's side door started to come loose and was hanging down. It wasn't cracked or anything like that, and it was probably not damaged. It just was hanging there, and I knew right away I had to take care of it, because if I didn't, it'll just get worse. So instead of complaining about it and saying I didn't have any time, I did a temporary fix, and then I found somebody who could repair it before it got worse. Do that with yourself. If you know that something's going on right now and it's not right and you don't feel good about it and it's not how you used to feel, seek help. Don't be afraid of it. It's not going to go away all by itself. And actually, if you don't take care of it, it could possibly just get worse. And why would you do that to yourself? It's preventative maintenance. So back to the Mustang. If I continue to just let it sit and neglect it, it won't run right. Things will begin to fall apart or break because I've neglected to oil, lube, and refill. Preventative maintenance helps me enjoy the car. Mental health wellness helps me be badass and enjoy my life and be fearless. Now I use the Mustang for motivational tips and tools with my video and podcast series. Mustang Monday, Badass Tips from the Streets, is where I interview and have conversations with other individuals providing some badass tips, whether it's mental health well-being or business tips. When I purchased the car in 2006, it was a deliberate decision to choose a red car. But never in my wildest dreams at the time did I think that I would be using the car for some sort of marketing purpose. The point is, whatever is going on in your life right now, and what went on in your life in the past, there is something in there that you can use that might be beneficial or as a tool for some future success. So I'm encouraging you and inviting you to be mindful, pay attention. Remember, just as you decide where this car goes, you can also decide where you focus your thoughts. And remember this too. When you're driving to work or home or somewhere you go on a regular basis, you don't even have to think about how to get there. Your mind can think of other things because of the groove in your brain that drives you to that location. It's on autopilot. So if you steered off the regular path, what would you do? You'd snap back to paying attention. You'd stop and you'd gather yourself and you'd get back on the right path. Same with your thoughts. You don't have to always manage them. You don't have to go on autopilot and perhaps get out of control. What can you do? You can pay attention to them. And when you notice they're getting off the beaten path of positive, stop, flip them over, and get back on the positive path.
Flipping the format on the fear of failure. Turn up your energy with Mustang Monday. Here once again in the driver's seat is Kelly Orchard.
Since it's a beautiful day, we get to stand outside the Mustang. This is Mustang Monday. Oh, that's even a better view. All right, it is Mustang Monday, and I'm here with a certified badass, my friend Bonnie. Say hello.
Hello.
Can you just say what you do real quick? What do you do for a living?
I do holistic financial planning so that you can have paychecks and playchecks for life.
Nice. All right. So we're out here doing a badass tip from the streets. And I want to make sure, first of all, that you're in this picture here. I'm using a little selfie stick. So, we were talking about a badass tip that you could give today. And, we were talking about, what is the 4 domains of life? What's the area going really well in your life right now?
Home life.
Okay.
And
so what do you have to say about home life?
So what I have to say about home life is it's super important that when you're pulling up to your driveway, you are so thrilled to go home. And one of the things I think is really important is appreciating your spouse, to realize that you got the best end of the stick. And so, here's something that always blows my mind, that women complain about a toilet seat being up. Because as easy as it is for a man to
put it down, it's just as easy for
you
me
to put it down.
That's a good point.
Such little things.
Yeah.
So don't sweat the small stuff. It's really so insignificant. And, for me, I try to be at the door when I hear my husband pulling up. Be at the door and say hello and smile and give him a kiss. And it makes life
your
so
home
simple.
life will just totally change. Just
It
that
really does.
little bit. You're right. You're absolutely right. So be kind to your spouse. That's Bonnie's badass tip from the streets today. Thank you so much,
Thank
Bonnie.
you.
All right, remember, be bold, be brave, be confident,
Be
badass. You're awesome.
Who wouldn't want to be a certified badass?
Hey everybody, Kelly Orchard here with Mustang Monday, Badass Tips from the Streets, with my friend Laura Burgess.
Burgess? Yep.
Burgess?
It is Laura.
Laura, okay. And you're a hairstylist.
I could be the Madonna of the hairdressers.
Oh, I used to be the Madonna of the High Desert, but that's another story.
Oh, okay. Wow, I'm interested in that one.
I'm interested in the Madonna of the hairdressers, and I'm wondering if it's the same deal.
Oh, I don't know about that. Madonna's a little wild for me.
Yeah, well, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more about the pop star popularity kind of thing.
Yes. Just the one name thing.
Yes, the one name thing.
Shakira. How about the Shakiras?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can shake it like Shakira.
Kelly Orchard.
Kelly Orchard.
Yeah.
Badass.
That's right, badass. So we're gonna do a badass tip today,
Okay.
and you're gonna give some tips on not only on business but on hair, which I love. We're gonna tie the two in together.
Absolutely.
But just as we were getting started to have this conversation, you asked me, so how'd the badass stuff all come about?
Yes.
And well, it's kind of an evolution. I'm a speaker and trainer and an author, and so my last name is Orchard, and I use the apple and apple trees and growth as my brand because it makes sense, because it makes my name memorable and stuff. But it didn't have that kick. It didn't have that kind of like edginess that I kind of am known for, a catch to it. It's like, oh, the apple, the personal growth, that's all great, and it is all good, but I also have, it's like based on my history, and whenever I share my stories, people have told me, it's like, God, Kelly, you're kind of badass. And it's like, first, thank you, and then secondly, it's like, I want to work with other badasses. Amen. So I started using the word badass, and then developing the program just kind of was an evolution. I started out thinking I would work with badass baby boomers because they're getting older and they are pretty badass.
Right.
But I didn't want to limit it to that age demographic.
Exactly.
So then I just, I did basically an analysis and reflection on everything I've ever done professionally, and there was a common denominator. Anything I've done professionally had something to do with a license, And when I became a licensed therapist after working as an intern for so long, suddenly I had more credibility. Even though I had the same training, I had the same skill sets, I'd already gone through all the programs.
Right.
When I got licensed, all of a sudden it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you're licensed.
You got a title.
You got a title.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, well, that's what I want my badasses I work with to be. I want them to have that credibility of being licensed.
Well, I'm next on this one.
That's right, you are.
Let's get me badass certified.
That's right. So tell me about the hair tips. I want to hear about that.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about myself.
Yes.
Real quick. Since this is really kind of like the first time that you and I have really.
Yes, we've sat across from each other at a paint and sip thing once and had a great time.
We're great painters and sippers.
Yes.
I can sip with the best of them.
Yeah.
So basically, I've been a hairdresser for about 15 years. I started school in February of 2004, and I don't have a lot of regrets in life. I do wish I had gone right out of high school, or even during high school. So for all you young ladies out there, you think you want to be a hairdresser, do it during school, because you can get out of high school and go straight into work, and it's such a badass industry. I love this industry. So first tip right there, don't hesitate, do it right out of school. So I went to school for a little bit, but I was a nanny at the time, so I traveled a lot. So I was technically a beauty school dropout for a second because I had a lot of missed time. And then I went back about a year later and did the last 4 months, which flew by. And I've done it ever since. I started off being really part-time. I started at Supercuts, but I knew Supercuts was going to be a temporary thing for me. I wanted to get the training, the basics out of there. I assisted shortly after that, which I encourage every hairdresser fresh out of school to assist, because there's always something to learn. And it's not just from watching YouTube or Instagram videos. You can also learn from other stylists and different techniques and different formulas, and why do you use this color line versus that color line. So it's a plethora of information in this industry. It really is. And then I went off on my own about 6 months after assisting, and I've been on my own ever since. I've rented booths at a few different salons here in Murrieta, and I've been on my own since April of 2017, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So
a couple years.
Couple years on my own. Oh,
Big transition.
16. I think it was 2016.
Okay, so
I can't remember.
I know time flies. I have to say, I found this phrase that I love to use, and I don't know who wrote it, so I can't really state. It's not mine, but I don't know who it is, so I can't quote it. But it says it's like life is like a roll of toilet paper.
Oh my God, that's great.
The closer it gets to the end, the faster it goes.
Isn't that
so true?
So it'll be 3 years in April, we'll say.
So definitely an evolution of your not only your skill sets, but even just your business acumen.
Well,
right?
and my personal growth.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I went through a divorce in 2015. I separated in 2014. End of 2013, but I went through a really big personal growth, and I was terrified to go off on my own and do my own thing, because it's one thing to keep inventory of your color and of your clients and your books and all that, and what formula you use on which person, but it's a completely different ball game when you're like, okay, I've got to have products to sell and my booth rent, and now it's going to be my salon rent, and you're dealing with vendors personally, and you're going, which line do I want to sell my clients? So there was just so much, and I was so scared to do it. But like they say, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough.
That's right.
And
the fear of failure is what holds the people back the most.
Yes.
It's not the actual fear of, well, sometimes they fear success, but the fear of falling on your face. And the truth of the matter is that there's other people like you said, the young women who may want to be a hairstylist.
Yeah.
It's like there's people like you that they could learn from.
Oh, and I love teaching.
And I also bet that you have other mentors that helped you along the way.
Oh, 100%. Actually, I'm going to give a shout out to my girl Tara, because I always tell Tara, I'm like, I want to be like you when I grow up.
Are you talking Tara Wonderland?
I'm my girl Tara
Yeah,
Wonderland.
I know. I keep holding back on letting anybody mention Tara's name, because it's like I have to get her in the car to do this.
Oh, well then come in the car, girl.
She's still reluctant. It's like she says I'm the only one that she'll do a Facebook Live video with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know why, because I just like.
Oh no,
she's
doing my idol.
You're doing this right now. Yeah.
Okay. She's my idol.
So she's been a mentor to you.
She's been, well, without her even knowing it. I just kind of, so she and I have become close in the last few years. But I knew of her before. She's very well known in town, and she's one of the people that I admire, and I admire her because she's such a hard worker. She's so committed to her craft, to her clients, but she also knows how to have a good time. She doesn't take herself too seriously. She's not over here like conceited and not willing to like share her tips or what she's done to get to where she is. And so to me, that's an admirable quality to have. There's nothing more annoying or irritating or just a turn off when somebody is successful and they don't want to share with you the steps and what they did, sacrifices or whatnot to get there.
Yeah.
Like, you're not lifting another person up if you're trying to hold everything in for yourself, you know? And so I might have diarrhea of the mouth, but I wouldn't change the way that I am for anything, because one, people tell me all the time they love how open I am, and that's been me since I was a little kid. I'm always just, people just come to me and they tell me things and I'm just like, okay, you know, like I'm an open book. I don't have anything to hide. And then the other thing is share the wealth. You know, like, hey, I tried this and it worked really great for me. You should try it too. You know, I've recently switched my hair care lines over to a new line, and one of the most amazing compliments and nicest compliments that I've been hearing from a few of my clients and friends is, I trust you. I know that you're not going to sell me something that you don't believe in yourself.
Right. Yeah.
And that is literally touched me to the core, because to me, that's all I ever want. I want people to know that I'm not fake, that I'm not over here trying to sell you snake oil. Like,
that you're trustworthy and you have integrity, and you're going to sell them a quality product.
Well, and that I have the best of like intention for their hair and for themselves, you know, that I'm not over here trying to get rich off of you and then whatever happens to you, so be it, you know.
Several different topics with Mustang Monday, and like most recently it's been, you know, it takes a village to live a badass life, you know, and then about customer service and the importance of it, and you're talking about both now.
It is. Gotta know when to say no.
And that's
sometimes
a skill
it's not
too.
worth it.
That's going to become a learned skill as well.
It's a learned skill, and it also comes with confidence too, because again, 10 years ago when I first started, or 15 years ago when I was really first starting, I would have never said no. You bend over backwards and, you know, you cut hair with your toes if you have to. Like, you just do whatever it takes to appease people. And that's part of maturing and growing up in my personal life as well as my business life.
Awesome.
And it all ties in together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It does. And that tied in really well together too.
Yeah.
So, everybody, this is Laura Burgess from, what hair salon?
Oh, so it's Heirloom Salon.
Heirloom Salon.
So think of an heirloom, but switched it out to hair.
I like that. And I'm Kelly Orchard, the B.A.D.A.S. certifier. Now we have like a closing that we say.
Okay.
So I swear I'm going to have to like print it on the dashboard here, but you're going to say, so this is Kelly Orchard and Laura Burgess reminding you to, say it with me, be bold.
Be bold.
Be brave.
Be brave.
Be confident.
Be confident.
And then be badass.
Be badass.
If you enjoy these interviews, you can watch videos of Mustang Monday on Kelly's YouTube channel, too.
Thanks for listening and getting one step closer to being licensed to be badass. Be sure to subscribe to continue on the bus to Badassville. Snag your Badass Habits ebook at licensedtobebadass.com. You can stay in the slow lane and get just enough tools for successful badassery, one podcast at a time. Or you can join the Badass Ambassador crew in the fast lane by checking your baggage with my Licensed to be Badass integrated program with videos, worksheets, and group coaching for motivation, mindset, and a fresh approach to living a fruitfully badass life.